So now what we're going to do is we're going to learn how to name acids. So, what is an acid? Acids we identify an acid because acids begin with hydrogen. So all acids begin with hydrogen. So for example, HCl is an acid. HNO3 is an acid. H2SO4 is an acid. Bases, on the other hand, bases end with hydroxides, OH. Okay? So in other words, like sodium hydroxide or barium hydroxide, all of those that end with OH are acids. You can write it in your notes if you want, or you can just watch. You don't need this in particular right yet, because what we're talking about, and then when we get to the naming acids part, you're going to write that on your periodic table. All right, so for example, and now I'm showing you how they interact, but you don't need to write this down quite yet, all right? So for example, if I react hydrochloric acid and sodium hydroxide, because I'm showing you what happens when you put them together, the chlorine and the sodium interact together. And what happens is you get sodium chloride plus you get the hydrogen, which interacts with the water. With the hydroxide. And you'll notice that HOH is water. So when a base and an acid react together, they neutralize. And the products are salt, lots of different salts, any salt. It could be potassium chloride, it could be potassium bromide, lots of possibilities. A salt is a cation and an anion. That makes up a salt, a metal and a nonmetal, all right? And water. And that's how an acid and a base neutralize. They produce water right there because it produces that hydrogen and that hydroxide together. And so that neutralizing factor is the water, all right? So how do we name these acids? Well, first, we name the bases just as we name anything else. We would just name it sodium hydroxide, barium hydroxide, right? But the acids, we name differently. So I'm going to show you how to name the acids. And it's a table. So you're going to want to put this table on your periodic table. Wherever it is that you're putting your nomenclature stuff, all right? So you're going to have naming acids. And when we name acids, we only look, weirdly, at the anions. So you're going to have anion here, and then you're going to have acid here. So what we're going to do is we're going to look at the anion, and then we're going to look at the acid. And there are three possibilities. It's super easy. The first possibility is that your anion ends in IDE. So this would be if your anion was, for example, chloride or bromide or fluoride. So for example, if it looks like this. So if your compound looked like this, then you would draw your line right here, and you would see that your anion is F-, right? And F- is fluoride. Fluoride, right? Because it comes right off the periodic table. It's an anion, so it's fluoride. So that means that your acid is going to be called hydro something-ic acid. So if your anion ends in IDE, then it's called hydroic acid. So this would be called hydrofluoric acid. Okay? Because the anion ends in IDE. So knowing those polyatomic ions is very important. Knowing all of the ions that end in IDE. Knowing that it's nitride, so you know it's hydronitric acid. Okay? Next, what if the anion ended in 8? So we had, for example, HNO3. What is that? That's nitrate. Nitrate. NO3. So then the acid is going to be called ic acid. So this would be called nitric acid. Right? And we know this pretty quickly because we look and we see NO3. We say, oh, that's nitrate, nitric acid. Okay? What if it's ended in ite? So instead we have H2SO3. So I look up SO3 and I see that that is sulfite. Sulfite. So then we would call it us acid. So this would be called sulfurous acid because it's an ite. That's it. That's all you have to do. Don't worry about the hydrogen because all acids start with hydrogen. So we don't worry about whether it has an H or not. We assume it does. So, examples. H2CO3. So what is the CO3? We look it up on your polyatomic ion. Carbonate. So it's an 8, which means this is carbonic acid. Yeah. Okay. What about if it was this? Hypochlorite. So this is hypochlorous acid. What about this? So you look up PO4, it is phosphoric acid. So it is phosphorus acid. It's phosphate, so it's phosphoric acid. And you just kind of learn the transition that it's not phosphic acid, it's phosphoric acid. All right? Got it? Questions? How do you do it backwards? Well, what if it was nitrous acid? Then I go, nitrous is ite, right? So I say nitrite is NO2 minus, and I put an H plus in front and crisscross. Super easy. All right? Okay, last thing I want to talk about